Tonight, the mercury rises.
It's very hot. The heat is too much.
A look at how Winnipeggers are coping as the summer heat arrives in full force. Also tonight,
Nopalming needs time to recover.
what a new report says about the future of Nopalming Provincial Park after last summer's devastating wildfires. Plus, growing for gold.
It's obviously, one of the biggest sporting events in the world, so things have to be perfect.
How Manitoba turf will be taking center stage when the FIFA World Cup arrives in North America.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Catherine Dow. Marilee is away. A new report is giving us a better sense of the scope of last year's devastating wildfire in Nopalming Provincial Park. It was released by the Conservationist Wilderness Committee and warns we can expect to see similar situations play out in the future without any action. Now let's bring in CTV's Joseph Bernacki to help break this all down. So Joseph, what were some of the key takeaways from this report?
Catherine, it was a very detailed report, and it found that it'll take decades, unfortunately, under ideal conditions for the ecosystem in Nopalming to recover. And for one species in particular, boreal caribou, a hallmark of the area, authors say their future is at best uncertain. That's because caribou require very specific conditions to thrive. For example, they prefer to feed on lichen, which grows around old trees, and they need large, undisturbed areas to raise their young. As for other species, the authors say there is evidence large animals such as moose, bear, and wolves have begun moving back into some of the burnt-out areas. It's still unclear how smaller mammals have fared. In terms of recovery, the report generally advocates for less human activity outside of climate-safe recreation. It says mineral exploration should end, the military training site should not be rebuilt, and ATVs should be banned.
What we're going to see in Nopalming is that folks are going to recognize that this will make one of the most beautiful backpacking trails in the country. It doesn't exist yet on paper, and as we work forward with First Nations, whose territory it is, to make these destinations, that's the place where Manitoba can engage Manitobans, people in the work, and make something that we're proud of and that we want to visit.
The authors also say human infrastructure should be limited in the park. Fewer buildings means firefighting resources won't be stretched so far in the event of future fires, and those efforts can be directed towards controlling the fires themselves.
So Joseph, were there any recommendations on how we can potentially prevent some of these devastating wildfires from happening again?
There were a few, Catherine. The authors lay the blame squarely on climate change, saying unless Manitoba and the rest of the world limit the burning of fossil fuels, massive fires like this will continue to happen. In addition to the hot, dry conditions brought out by a warming climate, it cites other research which predicts a 41% increase in lightning strikes in the coming years. Furthermore, it says the 2025 wildfires demonstrate that no jurisdiction can marshal all the resources needed to protect forests and human infrastructure.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph. Meanwhile, a heat warning is in effect tonight for southern Manitoba, including here in Winnipeg. The temperature is climbing to the mid-30-degree mark. CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. So, Jeff, how's it feeling out there?
Extremely hot, and I'm right under the sun and you can see me squinting. It's okay when you're in the shade, but as soon as you come out, you can really feel it. And we noticed a lot of people doing what they had to do today to beat the heat.
With the sun glaring down on Winnipeg, Isata Moses doesn't hold back about how she and 18-month-old Elijah are feeling.
It's very hot. The heat is too much. My God, it's very hot. You see, I'm sweating already. All my body, everywhere is just sweating.
With no air conditioning at their place, outside is still a better option for them.
This is fresh air, so it's better to be outside.
Environment and Climate Change Canada has issued a yellow heat warning for southern Manitoba as the temperature hits the mid-30s, with warmer than normal air coming in from the south.
And when you get a setup like this, it kind of gets stuck. So we have what we call a block in our area, which is allowing that warm air to pool and build day after day.
Many are coping by hitting a splash pad, using an umbrella, or finding some shade. For those who need a break from the heat, 6 community centers are open.
Additionally as well, city facilities during regular operating hours, whether that's rec and leisure facilities, as well as our city libraries.
And the city has also installed 9 of these drinking stations in the downtown area, including this one at Central Park, which is well used.
I'm taking water, government water.
For some, escaping the heat is not that easy and can take a toll. A permanent hydration station is also going up in front of the Salvation Army. Until then, this water tank has been parked here for the many unsheltered in the area. The center is open too.
Where they can seek relief from the extreme heat. There are beverages available to them. If they are particularly dehydrated, we can offer them some electrolyte supplements and freezies.
Now, those hydration stations are seasonal for obvious reasons. They can't operate in the winter.
Okay, Jeff, you look pretty steamy out there. What should people do? Maybe not wear a suit outside, but to protect themselves from the heat.
Yeah, don't wear a black blazer. Probably not a good idea. But there are lots of tips that you can use. They're pretty common sense stuff. Like, for example, stay hydrated. Don't wait until you're thirsty to have a drink. Use sunscreen. Take breaks in the shade. Check on those elderly family members and neighbors to make sure if they're okay. And don't forget about those furry friends, the members of the family, those pets. Maybe if you're going to take them out for a walk, do it later in the day, in the evening, because the concrete is hot and can hurt those paws.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Go grab some water, cool off. Speaking of Colleen, he's a trooper out there. It is hot here in Winnipeg, but important to note, we're not alone here under those heat advisories.
Right. We were just talking about how southern Manitoba is under that heat warning. In fact, much of the provinces, much of the prairie provinces, once again, like we were talking about last night, orange and yellow heat warnings in effect across the prairies. But now also northwestern Ontario is under that heat warning. Very warm there. Northern Manitoba, most regions in the 30s over the last couple of hours. So a lot of areas there under a heat warning as well. So coming up, we'll take a closer look at the heat warning and at those forecast temperatures over the next few days. But for now, let's take a look through that CTV Live Eye. It's brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In Winnipeg right now, it is 33 degrees, a little light cloud out there with a humidex. It feels like 36. Winds from the south at 24 kilometers an hour. The pressure is dropping and the humidity right now, Catherine, is 31%.
Thanks, Colleen. Some developing news this hour. Emergency crews are on scene of an explosion and fire in the Mission Industrial area just east of St. Boniface. You are looking at a live look at the scene. This is in the 600 block of Mission Street near Beaulieu Street. Crews responded around 3:30 this afternoon, and they had the fire under control less than a half hour later. The hazmat team was brought in because of the chemicals stored at the site. However, the city says crews have confirmed large quantities of chemicals were not involved in the fire. Everyone safely evacuated before crews arrived, and no injuries were reported. Very good news there. The cause of this is still under investigation. A panel of appeals court judges have reserved their decision in the resentencing of a man who recently had his murder conviction downgraded. A 27-year-old man named William Comer was found guilty of second-degree murder in 2022 in the killing of 20-year-old Haley Duguay 4 years earlier. He was previously sentenced to life in prison without parole for 12 years. However, a court of appeal downgraded that to manslaughter, saying jurors were never presented with direct evidence of what Comer's intent was when he fired a rifle at a moving vehicle Duguay was a passenger in. Duguay's mother spoke to CTV News outside court today about the ongoing legal affair.
It's horrible. You continuously have this Band-Aid that keeps getting ripped off, and every time you feel like you're able to heal and breathe a little bit, it just comes back again.
The Crown is asking for 14 years, while Comer's defense is arguing justice has been served with the time he has already spent in custody, which amounts to just over 6 years. The court has not said yet when a sentencing decision will be handed down. Mounties are asking for your help finding a trio of suspects in connection to a fatal stabbing last week in northern Manitoba. It happened around 2:30 in the morning last Wednesday in an open area near Princeton Drive in Thompson. A 21-year-old man was brought to hospital, but he later died. RCMP are now searching for the two people seen here. Here it comes on your screen. The Force says 19-year-old Eternity Chastain is facing a charge of manslaughter, and 24-year-old Marshall Marasti has been charged with second-degree murder. RCMP are also looking for an unnamed 17-year-old boy who is also charged with second-degree murder. None of the charges tested in court, a reminder, but anyone with information is asked to contact Thompson, RCMP, or Crime Stoppers. Another out-of-control wildfire has cropped up in Manitoba. Provincial data shows it's in the White Shell, roughly 12 kilometers northeast of Rennie. It is estimated to be about 8 hectares in size. Pictures and videos sent to CTV News Wednesday show smoke rising from behind the tree line, and a water bomber could be seen collecting water from the nearby Brereton Lake. Another fire in northwestern Manitoba near Easterville is also listed as out of control. It was first spotted on Monday. A truck driver has been charged following a fatal crash in Brandon. Police say the crash happened at the intersection of Highway 110 and Richmond Avenue East on Wednesday afternoon. They allege the 35-year-old male driver of a northbound semi-truck did not come to a halt at a stop sign, went through the intersection and hit an SUV. Police say the force of the crash also caused both vehicles to hit a different semi, which was stopped at the intersection. The 49-year-old woman driving the SUV was pronounced dead at the scene. The drivers of both trucks did not appear to suffer significant injuries. The 35-year-old man has been charged with dangerous driving causing death. He was taken into custody and he is scheduled to appear in court today. Those charges have not yet been proven in court. The Manitoba government says electric vehicle giant Tesla is threatening legal action over the province's decision to stop its rebate of Tesla vehicles. The province says the government received a notice from Tesla Motors Canada saying it intends to seek a judicial review of the decision. Premier Canoe says the government will only consider reversing their decision if the United States drops tariffs on Canadian goods. In 2024, the NDP government launched rebates of up to $4,000 for people who buy EVs. Last year, the government stopped those rebates for Tesla vehicles and those made in China in retaliation for tariffs. The notice from Tesla says the move to end the rebates was procedurally unfair and done for an improper purpose. Company officials were not available to comment. Winnipeg City Council has filled committee spots left open following the removal of Councillor Russ Wyatt.
That lineup of individuals that are replacing the councillor from Transcona on the respective committees was really determined by council themselves.
Wyatt was removed from 7 committees and boards late last month through a motion at City Council. It came after he was arrested for sexual assault. Mayor Scott Gillingham says Speaker Devi Sharma surveyed councillors to see who'd be interested in those open seats, and his motion today reflects that. The allegations against Wyatt have not been tested in court. Billions of soccer fans around the world are waiting with feverish anticipation for next month's World Cup. And you can expect a group of Manitoba farmers to be watching their screens very closely. As CTV's John Hendrick shows you, their grass is being used in the competition.
Gift ready. Manitoba won't be hosting any of the Canadian matches for the upcoming 2026 World Cup. But even if Messi and Ronaldo won't be walking on our soil, they will be running on our grass.
It's cleaned, it's bagged, it's gone to where it needs. And yeah, I know Mexico City and Vancouver specifically are using those varieties on their stadiums.
Varieties of grass seed. Manitoba farmers have produced 2 special types of ryegrass seed that DLF Canada calls Fiesta Cinco and SR 4700. They'll be used to overseed and fill in the turf used in the stadiums.
There's a team of people that specialize in turf. They're looking at it right from the ground to when it's first done on a checkerboard, and they're testing it for different stresses, then mass producing it from there.
And with billions of people around the world expected to watch the matches, FIFA needs the grass to be perfect.
If we have any problems with the pitch, if the ball doesn't bounce properly, if the players are slipping and sliding, then that's the Achilles heel.
DLF Canada has a lot of experience producing grass seed for past World Cups and golf tournaments, including the PGA. And soon, the world will get to see the kind of grass Manitoba farmers are capable of producing.
When we're watching this tournament at home, we can sit there and go, hey, that's that's a piece of something local, I guess. So yeah, it's a neat feeling.
A feeling they'll get on Saturday, June 13th, when the first World Cup match in Vancouver gets underway.
Football unites the world.
John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
CAA Manitoba has revealed the results of its 2026 Worst Roads campaign today, and a familiar South Central highway has claimed the top title. Provincial Trunk Highway 34 received the honor for the second year in a row. It's the 7th time the highway has made an appearance on the list. CAA says the #1 complaint about it is potholes. Other factors include uneven road surfaces and poor road maintenance. Provincial Road 307 in the Whiteshell came in 2nd place, and Winnipeg's own Kenaston Route 90 took 3rd. Brandon claimed 2 other spots on the list, Pembina Valley another, and Winnipeg rounded things out with 4 more.
Last year we had a sort of heavy rural representation on our list. This year that kind of balanced out.
Okay.
Equal parts rural, equal part urban. We also saw a bunch of new roads appear this year, which we'd never seen before.
Okay.
So that shows that people are listening and paying attention.
CAA launched the campaign last month, asking Manitobans to nominate roads needing improvement. The information collected is used by the organization to help the governments know where to prioritize road repairs and infrastructure needs. More than 711 roads received nominations this year. You could soon see a new billboard along Portage Avenue, but not everyone is excited by the idea. The city has approved a new billboard to replace this one on Portage Avenue near Strathcona Street, right before the underpass. What sets this one apart is that the developer plans to have a roughly 194 square foot digital screen on the east-facing facade. A handful of people have registered their opposition over concerns about light streaming into their homes at night. And an appeal hearing is scheduled for next Wednesday. Still to come tonight, Prime Minister Mark Carney makes his sales pitch in New York City.
Canada Strong will help make America great again.
His message to business leaders in the hopes of selling Canada to the U.S. That's next. Looking at the markets, crude oil made a small gain. The loonie closed up at 72.42 cents U.S. Gold futures jumped almost $51. The TSX added 105 points. The Dow Jones rose 24 points, and the Nasdaq was up 242 points. Prime Minister Mark Carney used President Trump's own words in addressing elite business leaders in New York. Today, he says a strong Canada will, quote, help make America great again. His speech touted Canada's plans for economic growth while still inviting investment from our closest neighbor. CTV's Ottawa Bureau Chief Graham Richardson is in New York.
In the heart of the world's financial capital, Prime Minister Mark Carney delivered his message of change in Canada. This is the Economic Club of New York, where presidents and prime ministers have come to speak for more than 100 years. Carney never mentioned President Donald Trump by name, but he didn't have to.
Canada Strong will help make America great again.
Whether it's LNG announcements, potential new pipelines, or boosting defense spending, Carney told the home of big American money the story of a different Canada under his leadership.
That future should include a new partnership with Canada, a true partnership that reimagines cooperation in specific sectors that are deeply challenged by global competition, a partnership with a different Canada, a stronger Canada, a more confident Canada.
Back in Ottawa, a different perspective from the opposition, accusing the Liberals of chasing investment away for years.
His elbows were again flapping up and down in the rhetorical chicken dance, as he cannot seem to decide if integration with the U.S. is a strength or a weakness. He's argued passionately for both positions in the last 3 months alone.
Carney also spent a significant amount of time here on Canada's military spending, especially in the north.
We did need to step up to take more responsibility for Arctic security. We're doing that now.
And support for Ukraine in a conflict he says is significantly tilting against Russia.
But Russia's losing 35,000 troops a month, 22 to 23, depending on the month, of those troops are killed. They're losing troops faster than they can replace them.
So no mention of Donald Trump by name, but Justin Trudeau's name didn't come up either. Mark Carney signaling to American business Canada is open for business again, hoping they'll hear it, and also hoping the audience of one in the White House heard it too. Graham Richardson, CTV News, New York.
Murder charges against an Ontario man accused of selling lethal substances online to people who later used them to take their own lives are expected to be withdrawn. Kenneth Law is expected to plead guilty to the lesser charges of aiding suicide when he appears in court tomorrow. He was originally scheduled to stand trial in Newmarket last month on 14 counts each of first-degree murder and aiding suicide. His lawyer gave notice of the plea deal several weeks ago. The latest now from the Middle East. The U.S. and Iran have reportedly agreed to extend their ceasefire. The Memorandum of Understanding also sees a lifting of restrictions on shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Sources say the deal would extend the truce for another 60 days, while negotiators tackle difficult issues such as Tehran's nuclear program. But U.S. President Donald Trump has yet to approve the MOU, and Iranian state media says it's not yet been finalized. Meantime, both sides continue to trade attacks. Canada, the U.S., and Mexico are aligning their public health travel measures in a bid to protect citizens and visitors during the World Cup. Details of the measures have not yet been provided, but they apply to people coming from African countries at the greatest risk from Ebola. Canada is already banning residents from the DRC, Uganda, and South Sudan from entering the country for 90 days. Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and other foreign nationals who have been in affected areas in recent weeks and do not have symptoms will have to quarantine for 21 days. That's starting on Saturday. A warning today that world temperatures are expected to continue at or near record levels over the next 5 years. The World Meteorological Organization says there's an 80% possibility that at least one of the next 5 years will exceed 2024 as being the hottest year on record. The people of Thompson, Manitoba opened their arms after the worst wildfire season in the province's history last year. Among those who sought refuge there, residents of Leaf Rapids, about 3 hours away. Now, 10 months later, many are facing the prospect they may never return. CTV's Alex Carpa reports.
It's very hard to live in here because there's so many of us in here.
Rose Moose Biggity and her family have been living in an apartment in Thompson for over 8 months. She was forced out of her home in Leaf Rapids after the devastating wildfires last summer. This is what Biggity's home looked like when she returned to Leaf Rapids last September. A caved roof, water damage, mold, and crumbling infrastructure are all that remain.
It was hard. I couldn't believe it that I didn't expect to go home to that.
Thompson is over 200 kilometers southwest from her home in Leaf Rapids, and now because of limited resources and uncertainty in the community, she doesn't know if returning home will ever be possible.
My son and my grandchildren still live in Leaf Rapids, and my nieces and my nephews. I still have family in Leaf Rapids.
Evacuees like Biggity from Leaf Rapids remain in Thompson, not knowing if or when they'll ever be able to return home. But some say wildfires weren't the only reason for not returning to the community. Elizabeth Charrier didn't return to Leaf Rapids after the evacuation. She got a job in Brandon and moved her family there. She says leaving home was never what she wanted, but after struggling to access health care and basic resources, she felt she had no other option.
When I left Leaf Rapids, that was my feeling of defeat. I felt like it didn't matter how much I would say these things, how much you advocate, no one's listening.
Leaf Rapids has struggled for years following the closure of its mine in the early 2000s. Businesses shut down, healthcare services declined, and now residents are facing another blow, the planned closure of the town's only grocery store.
When it comes to food, people have a right to good nutritious food at a good price.
The province says it is working to support the residents in Leaf Rapids, but Biggity feels her community is being ignored.
I don't even know why the government is trying to shut Leaf Rapids down.
Hoping one day she'll be able to return to the community she still calls home. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Thompson, Manitoba.
Some new arrivals at a Manitoba stable are helping reestablish an Indigenous horse breed. Sage Hill Stables has recently welcomed 2 Ojibwe spirit horse foals to its herd. The colt and filly were born at the farm earlier this month, and they're said to be healthy. The Ojibwe spirit horse is the only Indigenous horse breed in Canada and is endangered, with fewer than 200 left in North America. Along with the 2 new foals, Sage Hill is home to 3 mares and a stallion. They're part of its Spirit Horse project meant to reestablish the breed, promote reconciliation, and share the history and teachings of horses. Up next, we'll take a look at how the blue and gold are getting ready for the season with new rules in effect.
And the long-range forecast starts Saturday, cloudy, but still very warm, 32 degrees, and then not much relief overnight. A very warm low of 19 degrees, back up to 31 on Sunday. Then we see the return of at least a mix of sun and cloud. And then Monday, Tuesday, there is a developing risk of thunderstorms. 31 on Monday, 27 on Tuesday. There's a chance of showers on Wednesday, also with that risk of thunderstorms. Not quite as hot, but still a warm high of 26 degrees.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers wrap up their 2-game preseason schedule tomorrow night at home against the BC Lions. It'll be the first chance for most Bomber fans to see some new CFL rules in effect. CTV's Daniel Halmerson has more on what's changed and how the players feel about it.
The preseason is an opportunity for Blue Bomber players to click with new teammates, put new plays into action, and in 2026's case, adapt to some new and modified CFL rules. Last fall, CFL Commissioner Stuart Johnston announced rule changes were coming over the next 2 seasons.
Our game must continue to evolve and modernize for our players, our fans, and our partners.
The CFL is shifting to a 35-second play clock this season. It means the clock starts counting down as soon as the previous play is blown dead in an effort to speed up overall play.
We have the officials out here and working on the new play clock and just kind of getting acclimated to that.
However, the 20-second play clock fans are familiar with will still be in effect for the final 3 minutes of each half.
I don't think it won't change much of our process, right? Because as soon as Osh gives me the go, jot on the field, put the tape down, and we'll get going.
Another change for 2026, a modified rouge. The single point is no longer awarded for missed field goals that sail wide of the goalposts or for punts and kickoffs that go through the end zone without being touched.
It doesn't matter if it's an extra point, a 10-yarder, or a long kick, right? So at the end of the day, the process is the same. Go through my cues, right? Read the wind.
New league requirements also include team benches to be placed on opposite sides of the field, and regular season games can't end in a tie thanks to changes to overtime rules.
I think that was, one of the best things that they did was understanding that there can never be a tie anymore. This is professional football. There should be a winner and a loser at the end of the day.
But the 2026 changes pale in comparison to the ones coming in 2027. That's when fields will be shortened to 100 yards, end zones will scale back to 15 yards, the uprights move to the back of the end zone, and 8 of the league's 9 teams will qualify for the CFL playoffs. Daniel Halmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Kickoff for Friday's preseason game is slated for 7:30 from Princess Auto Stadium. Fans at home can stream through CFL Plus.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
And Colleen, what kind of conditions should Bomber fans prepare for on Friday?
Well, put it this way, we're heading to highs in the mid-30s tomorrow in much of southern Manitoba, including here in Winnipeg. So if you're going to be out at the stadium, brace for the heat. We're not getting much relief with overnight temperatures, hence the heat warnings that will certainly continue tomorrow. So make sure you're hydrated with water if you're out at the stadium tomorrow. But yeah, it will be hot no matter where you are. Outdoors, certainly including tonight too. Very warm today. No place was hotter in all of Canada than Dauphin, Manitoba, reaching 37 degrees late this afternoon. Brandon got to 35. We got to 33 here in Winnipeg. A lot of places in southern Manitoba got to that 34, 35 degree range. And that extreme heat has now spilled over into northwestern Ontario. There's a heat warning there. But let's look at the temperatures starting in Kenora. It's 28 degrees there. Now you get back over the border here into Manitoba, warmer still in the low to mid 30s. Look at this, still 33 in Winnipeg, still 35 in Brandon. Dauphin now dropped a degree. It's now 36 there. But look at these temperatures across the north. It's 35 right now in the Paw. Across the north, upper 20s, low 30s. Churchill down a couple of degrees. It was 8 last hour. It's 6 there. So obviously not under the heat warning that far north. But you can see again, much of the prairie provinces under that heat warning. Southern Manitoba, pretty much all of us in it together, including Winnipeg and Brandon under that heat warning. Daytime highs in the mid 30s expected over the next few days, low to mid 30s anyway, and overnight lows well into the upper teens or low 20s, not providing that relief overnight. And in the north, we're seeing those temperatures in the 30s. We will see that continue too. So a heat warning in effect for many communities, including places as far north as Thompson and now northwestern Ontario, also under that heat warning. So for the most part, though, we're under the influence of that upper ridge of high pressure, that heat dome, if you will. And we were talking about that in Jeff's story earlier, that block, you know, really just keeping that south air in place, holding in that extreme heat. When we get into Friday, though, enough cloud starts to build in that we may be off to a cloudy start, albeit a light cloud cover, but that will start to break up throughout the day in some areas. We should see more of a mix of sun and cloud here in the southeast. Might be a little cloudier out in the southwest. Overnight we go, taking us into Saturday, where we will cloud over across the south, but temperatures will remain very warm in the 30s. For tonight, we drop down to 21 degrees overnight. A few clouds, winds out of the south at 20. Mostly cloudy in the morning, although light cloud, 23 degrees on the way to a hot high of 34 in the afternoon. And again, of course, we have that game in the evening out at the stadium there. 8 is the UV index for tomorrow, very high. Quick swing around the province, partly cloudy in the northeast tonight. Overnight lows as warm as 16 overnight in Thompson, 33 there tomorrow, under a mix of sun and cloud. In the northwest tonight, overnight lows 16, 17 degrees, and then tomorrow sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures in the 30s, 30 as far north as Lynn Lake, 35 again in the Paw. A few clouds tonight over the southwest. Brandon down to 19, Dauphin 22 tomorrow, up to 33 there tomorrow. Brandon 30 degrees along with Neepawa. Winnipeg in the southeast, a few clouds tonight. Overnight lows in the low 20s for most of us. Hot highs in the low to mid 30s tomorrow. 34 for Winnipeg. Clear tonight, northwestern Ontario. 16 overnight there. A chance of showers tomorrow. Highs of 32 degrees. Otherwise under a mix of sun and cloud. Our first weather photo is a beauty. It takes us out to lovely Treeherne, Manitoba. That photo was taken by Andrew. And this next one's very nice right here in Winnipeg. That photo was taken by Scott. Send us yours by email to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
I think people are using more supplements nowadays.
You know what they say about too much of a good thing. After the break, the warning from experts as more and more people turn to nutritional supplements. Medical Watch is next. As we told you yesterday, new research coming out of the U.S. finds teens are losing critical sleep because they're on their phones too late at night. The study found more than half of U.S. teens are spending up to an hour or more on their phones between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. So how can we make sure our kids or even us are hitting the hay and not our smartphones? Well, sleep consultant Carrie Proust joins me now to give us a few pointers. Carrie, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm curious, you're an expert on this subject. What was your take on this new data? Did it surprise you? Do you feel Canadian teens are kind of falling in this boat as well?
I definitely think they are. I'm not really surprised by this study at all. This kind of echoes what teachers, parents, and medical professionals have been saying for years about screen usage and sleep. What really did kind of stand out was just how prevalent this issue has become and how widespread it has become, and how these screen habits really do lead to poor sleep hygiene. What was kind of surprising, though, was just how little sleep these teens are getting, like reports of 5 to 6 hours a night, which is just wildly inadequate for these teens' growth and development.
Well, on that, when we talk about kids and teens, how much sleep do they ideally need to get to be functioning at their best?
So it's kind of a wide spectrum based mostly on age. Our elementary school age kids somewhere between 9 to 12 hours a night, and then into high school 8 to 10 hours a night is appropriate for those developmental milestones to be hit.
So what happens if they're not getting that, if they're not achieving enough shut-eye? What kind of fallout is there?
I mean, it's really widespread. Again, I think most commonly we're seeing lack of motivation, so it's harder to get up and start our day. We see fatigue and drowsiness throughout the day. And then beyond that, we're seeing lower cognitive function, so it's harder to absorb that information we're learning throughout the day. Poor memory control, so we're not retaining that information. We can see lower impulse control, so we're making riskier or more impulsive choices. And then we have detrimental impacts to our health. So we know that sleep helps to repair the immune system. So if we're not getting enough sleep, we might be getting ill more frequently, or it's taking us longer to get better after being ill. And then long term, with lack of sleep, we're seeing poor mental health outcomes. So higher reports of anxiety or depression, and goes beyond that into really poor mental health outcomes.
And a wrench being thrown into all of this, like when I was a kid, I didn't have an iPad, I didn't have a phone. So what are you hearing from parents about the challenges that this is creating at bedtime?
Yeah, I mean, this technology is designed to keep us engaged, and so our kids are especially vulnerable to that. So it's a problem across the board. I see it in toddlers, and I see it in my older kids too that I work with. This is a really prevalent issue, and I think it's, parents are just struggling with how to create those boundaries around it.
Well, help us with that, Carrie. Even not just for parents, for me, I have a really hard time putting the phone down at night, not doom scrolling. So what kind of tips can you offer for parents, or myself even, to kind of get us out of that trap and have some better sleep hygiene with our phones?
That is a great question. I really love the idea of like a digital sunset, so turning off those screens at least 60 minutes before bed, and then replacing that habit of scrolling with something that's more conducive to better sleep. So we're looking at reading, journaling, maybe writing down the tasks that we want to accomplish for the next day, organizing those thoughts, even just dimming the lights to prepare our brains and bodies for sleep that's coming. And it's really about modeling the behavior we want to see in our kids. It's pretty hypocritical for us to be scrolling on our phone and telling our kids to get off their devices. So modeling that behavior, it really works if the whole household can get on board with getting into these new habits.
And what do you do if there's pushback? You know, if you got the littles not really understanding why, how can parents talk to their kids about this?
I think really spelling it out for them, that sleep is so important to healthy growth and development. Like, I hear it all the time that, like, well, my kid wants to be on their iPad, and I understand that. I'm not expecting parents to eliminate screen time completely, but rather focusing on when it's more appropriate to have that screen time and shifting it away from the bedtime routine.
Setting limits, sticking to the limits, I imagine, is pretty key here.
Exactly. Yes.
I'll try and do the same with myself, though it is hard.
It's hard. It's hard.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there, Carrie. Thanks so much. These are great tips.
Thank you so much.
Newfoundland and Labrador is the latest province to declare gender-based violence an epidemic. The provincial government announced the move yesterday, following in the footsteps of other jurisdictions, including Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. Newfoundland and Labrador's Minister of Women and Gender Equality says the declaration acknowledges the urgency of the problem and the need for collective action to prevent it. The province is also establishing a 12-person committee whose members represent government, survivors, and Indigenous women. Dietary supplements are used to add nutrients to a person's diet, and the pills, powders, and liquids continue to gain popularity. But experts are warning excessive use can be hazardous to your health.
With the rise of social media and influencers pushing or advertising supplements, there's also increasing use because of those.
Integrative medicine specialist Dr. Yufeng Lin with the Cleveland Clinic says people use supplements for a variety of reasons, including vitamin C when they're sick, omega-3 in ginger for inflammation, magnesium for sleep, collagen for anti-aging, and protein powder for fitness goals.
However, excess supplements can be toxic to the body as well and can be a burden.
Lynn says a vitamin supplement may be okay for some, including those who have diet deficiencies, anyone with trouble absorbing or digesting food, those with a history of intestinal or stomach surgery, or if a person is low in vitamin D, especially in those winter months. But Lynn says taking too many can take a toll on your body, especially the kidney and liver. Some can also interfere with medications. So before taking a supplement, she says to consider whether it's safe and necessary and to monitor whether you're seeing benefits.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
I would thou hadst been son to some man else, father honorable.
Love blooms in the forests of Arden this summer, or rather the Trappist Monastery in St. Norbert. Here's the behind-the-scenes look at the latest production from Shakespeare in the Ruins, next in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting country legend Marty Stewart.
Well, if you have the performing itch, you might just be what downtown Winnipeg Biz is looking for.
We're really excited to launch Downtown Live. It's designed to showcase local talent and create ongoing energy throughout downtown at our public spaces, as our public locations.
The organization is launching a new initiative aimed at highlighting local talent with the goal of getting more people to come downtown throughout the year. It's called Downtown Live. The program will curate a roster of local performers who will take part in paid events throughout the area, and it's looking for all types of artists.
So we're really looking for all kinds of talent, youth, emerging, established, little weird, little unexpected, street style performances, community rooted, you name it, it's all welcome, and we're really excited to launch this program.
Public auditions will kick off on June 27th at the Plaza outside of the Burton Cummings Theatre. Prizes will be handed out, and you might even get the chance to perform at the next Burt Block Party. Registration is now open, and you have until June 14th to follow your dreams and apply. Well, all the world's a stage, they say, and for Shakespeare in the Ruins, that stage is the Trappist Monastery Provincial Heritage Park in St. Norbert.
What is thy name, young man?
Orlando, my liege, the youngest son of Sir Roland de Boys.
I would thou hadst been son to some man else. The world esteemed thy father honorable, but I did find him still mine enemy. But fare thee well.
SIR's first production this season will be William Shakespeare's As You Like It. The first time it's produced the play since 2004. Considered one of Shakespeare's greatest comedies, it tells the tale of love at first sight, banishment, and scheming brothers. But in this case, with a twist inspired by the HBO hit series White Lotus.
So instead of the forest, he runs away to a spa, and there's a piano bar, and there's some wacky employees that work there.
Fare thee well.
As You Like It runs June 4th through July 5th. Tickets are available through the Shakespeare in the Ruins website. A pair of powerhouse performers will take you on a journey through beloved Broadway hits and contemporary works from the Filipino-Canadian canon. Royal MTC's Daan, A Journey Through Song, brings together Ma-Ann Dionisio and Stephanie C. for one night only this Saturday, May 30th. The celebration of Filipino-Canadian culture showcases the past, present, and future of the duo's musical theater careers.
I wanted to choose songs that have meant something to me through the course of my journey.
And then we will also be singing songs with messages of hope and future songs and musicals that we'd like to be a part of.
This will be Dionisio's first Royal MTC appearance. Tickets for Daan, A Journey Through Song, are available through the theater's box office. Your Thursday primetime lineup starts with Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage at 7. Up next is Children Ruin Everything at 8. Then Traders Canada is on at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
I love this cat. He is he's got some attitude.
A perfect pour. How you can cast your vote for the newest and furriest faces to grace the cans of some local brews, all in support of a good cause. That's still ahead.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
33 degrees out there with light cloud over the city, winds out of the south at 24 kilometers an hour. With the Humidex, it feels more like 36. So as I mentioned, 33, the top temperature today. The normal high is 22. 1919 is when the record was set for this day, though, 35 degrees. The heat warning continues for much of Manitoba, including here in the city. Tonight down to 21, not giving us relief from the heat. A few clouds. 35 tomorrow. Cloudy on Saturday, but still very warm. 32, 31 on Monday. Temperatures as we get into next week, at least to start off, still very warm. Low 30s 70s Monday, upper 20s Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud with a thunderstorm risk. Chance of showers Wednesday, not quite as warm, Catherine, but still 26 is plenty warm indeed.
Sure is. Okay, cracking open a cold one, almost said a bad word, with your best bud is once again taking on a new meaning.
I love this cat. He is, he's got some attitude.
Pets on Pints is back for a third year. Good Neighbor Brewing is once again asking folks to vote for which Winnipeg pets they want to see on beer cans. Each vote costs $1 and goes directly to the Humane Society.
Sort of event with a count. So we have 4 labels up for grabs. The top 2 with the most votes automatically get on a can, and then we have 2 more labels for our random draws, so everyone has a chance to get on these really cool cans.
And if you think your furry friend is the cat's meow, you have from June 1st to the 19th at noon to submit photos and vote. Cans roll out across Winnipeg July 16th.
I love it.
Some pretty cute ones there.
Absolutely.
Before we go tonight, we have a programming note. Our 6 o'clock broadcast tomorrow is preempted to make way for Canada Soccer to unveil its men's national team roster for the FIFA World Cup. You can still find our show on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and tune in here at 5. See you tomorrow.